2015 for releasing funds for public improvements in the Oak Estates Phase 4 from $98,803 to $46,381.50.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. For number 212-2015, it's to conditionally accept portions of Oak Drive in Phase 5 of Oak Estates as part of the public road system. What's the condition?
Why would we take part of it and not wait for the whole road?
Sometimes the developer puts a certain amount in, and if it meets the township specs, he can request us to take it over. But I'm not sure what.
The benefits of the township that owning and having responsibility for a portion of it.
There's never any benefit to move with some liquid fuels funds. But he's looking for, first of all, conditionally. It could be a phase of one whole street. We would take a little portion of one of it, that's when we turn around.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know.
Bruce, can you bring that up while Joe's looking for that? Do you have anything on that?
Unfortunately, I do not.
Can you see if you can put that up so everybody can see that portion?
In talking with Joe Seitz here, they haven't placed the final wearing course on that road yet, and therefore, I'm recommending we not accept it until the wearing course has been placed. Once we take ownership, then I own the winter maintenance operations on there, and in all likelihood, the inlets sit higher than the roadway right now. So for that reason, I'm asking that we delay that acceptance until the final wearing course is in place, and we can do a final inspection on that road.
Is that the reason for the conditional approval?
I think part of the conditional approval was that they had put money aside for the final wearing service on next spring after all the houses were constructed.
So is this solely for the purpose of us doing winter maintenance on the road?
But I agree with Bill. The fact is, I know on Reserve Drive, it's the same situation. Until Phase 2 is done, they're not putting the final wear cut on because they are going ahead and using in truck traffic on that. They don't want to destroy it. But at the same time, those sewers do sit up high. But I can see your point. I agree with you.
If our guys hit them and damage them, we'll be responsible.
I do as well. So this is what we're denying this.
No, you don't necessarily have to deny it, it's just, we're not going to even act on it.
Okay.
Chris, you have a problem with that?
No.
All right, for 2013-2015, it's consider payment number 2 for the Coleman Road retaining project to Morgan Excavating in the amount of $139,991.90. Is that a 1/3?
That's about a little more than half, almost 2/3 of it. They should be done with the third wall before the end of this week, and they'll be in next week to do the paving of the 3 wall locations. So we'll come to a closure on the wall.
He did get on a timely whenever the utility companies got their poles moved. You have a motion to approve that payment? And seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For 214-2015, it's the payment number 3 and the final for the paving completed by Youngblood Paving, Contract A.
I'll make that motion, and I did want to say I've looked at some of the roads that Youngblood have done over this course of this year for us, and they really did a good job.
They're very good contractors, that's sure.
So moved.
It's been moved. What do you moved and seconded? Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, the motion carries. And 2015 is also for payment number 4. Well, that's not all of it, Joe, huh? It's not a final. Or please by Youngblood on contract B, David.
Contract A's.
Right. How much is remaining on the one out of that 115-830, Joe, do you know?
There's not very much, about 20,000.
What's the issue that you
We've got a couple punch list items, and there's a couple little items we wanted to add on that they're going to complete for us.
Can you all hear?
Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. We'll try to talk up Elizabeth. For 2016-2015, It's Weavertown Environmental, Don Fuchs has offered, I guess the word's out there, he offered to try to move the jail for us, the Cecil jail up to our park here. We've been trying for years to have that thing moved, and Don thinks his crew can get it up, elevated up in the air, and he talked about at his sole cost, he'll hire a moving company to those buildings to bring it up to 50 and set it here for us on a foundation. And it's, obviously, if you've seen it, it's sitting out in the weather. Each year it gets a little bit more deteriorated. Don had asked if he could put a temporary building over top of it, not only to preserve it from any more bad winter weather, but he said as his guys are available, they'd like to work in that building, doing what they have to do to stabilize the building to get it lifted up in the air. They're going to put some kind of assembly, build some kind of assembly inside to hold the structure in its shape, and also a steel structure on the outside to hold the building intact. And it's going to be designed, and then he's going to do that part. He'd like to do it indoors instead of outdoors.
I think it's an interesting idea to move the jail myself. My only concern, though, is I've been down there and I've looked at it, and it is deteriorated. I think my question might be for Chris. If we approve this, what liability do we have if there's an accident? Because that roof is arched roof, and it looks like there's a row of brick missing. And if somebody get hurt during this, are we responsible, or is who's responsible if we approve it? The liability is what I'm wondering about.
He carries the liability for all of it, but not for the building itself. But should anybody be hurt, he carries and will provide the township with proof of coverage.
Yeah, he's insured people.
Yes.
The only thing he asked, Chris, was that if for some reason while it's being moved, if it just breaks, then it can't be kept intact, and it crumbles or something, he doesn't want to be held responsible for the value of that jail.
Right.
He's moving it, at his expense, probably going to cost over $30,000 to move it, and that's all he's asking. That he'll do his best.
Is that structurally sound enough to me?
Well, they're going to make it. They say they can make it that way. But if it falls apart, it's going to fall in on itself anyway. That's why they're going to try to build something on the inside. And then the moving company he's going to use, he said it's a company that moves buildings that they do. So if he gets it up in the air and it's intact, they supposedly will get underneath it and fall on the house.
What about once it gets here? I mean, if it's that structurally unsound where it is, and we do all this to move it.
You're not saying the structure unsound is deteriorating just from weather, freeze, thaw, the water gets in the cracks, and every year it does a little more damage.
Yeah, right, I understand that, but we're going to put it in our park, and then what happens if somebody...
We'll fence it off completely, and then I know we're going to get casino LSA money for the restoration. That'd be a draw to people from all over the area to see that jail. And but yeah, it'd have to be restored. If he brings it up there, we have to fence it and then find money to restore it.
How do you know we're going to get LSA money?
How does he know we're going to get LSA money?
That's exactly the kind of things that they'd like to do as a project. Sewer projects are necessities and things like that, but they like they like projects that are of public interest.
Do we make sure that we have the grant to restore it before we move it, and then something happens or something?
They'll never give you a grant unless you're ready to use the money. So we have to have
ready to use the money, and we could show that Don Fuchs is ready to move the jail, and he's willing to put this much into it. And
he can't guarantee that it's going to end up here. Meaning that when he's lifted up, it could fall apart up on that site there. Then it's going to be rubble. I mean, it could fall apart. It doesn't look like it will, according to the people he had look at it, but there's no guarantees. But you can't.
Where in the park are we going to go?
We were looking at a spot, and everybody can weigh in on that. Across from the new playground area, the kids, there's that flat spot on the left side, so you can see from the parking lot as you come in.
I don't think that's a good place
It
to put it.
looks like a great spot. You can weigh in on it. Our question right now
I'm
is,
just asking to have people climb on it. I mean, we can't even keep people off from staples in our pavilions.
eventually we'll want them to go in the building. It's going to be open as a public display. It'll be fenced off until it's restored.
I don't know, I have really mixed feelings about.
Can't hear you.
So I have very mixed feelings about moving it with so many insured parts.
I just think we need to be assured too that once it's there, it's going to be safe. because you're gonna have parents and kids wanting to go around that.
Of course it's
And
going
that's
to
gotta
be
be,
safe.
that's gotta be the utmost important, that
Of
it's gonna
course
be
it's
safe.
going to be safe.
Why
Why, of course?
is it going to be?
Because we're going to do the work necessary when it's moved to make sure that it's safe.
Who's the township?
No, not the township. We'll do it through grant money.
Anyhow,
This is a wonderful opportunity to move something that is going to be totally destroyed. If we don't do it soon, we're going to lose it. We did not have the funds for it, and Don Gibbs out of nowhere very graciously offered to.
Yes.
We should be thanking Don Gibbs, and the plaque should be for him. He graciously offered to do this out of the goodness of his heart and the goodness of his pocket. In addition to that, he also just gave a donation to the to our historical society of $2,550, for which we're very appreciative. I can see only good coming out of it. The worst thing that could happen is if it totally collapses, because we haven't done anything but let it go for many, many years. This has been something that's been very special to me to get this done, to move it to our park where it can be enjoyed by everyone.
it's pretty unique. It was from 1909, right?
No, 1906.
1906.
And there's a really interesting story concerning it. I'll have it for Saturday. Kathy Pickford, one of our historians, has very graciously gone back to the 1880s of the Daily Notes and perhaps other newspapers as well. And every single article that was written about Cecil Township or the people in Cecil Township, stories about Cecil Township, and put them in 9 volumes, which is what we're going to be putting in the time capsule, not the originals of it, but we've made copies of all of them, and we'll also have some for sale this weekend, the copies of them. But it's really wonderful, the stories, and one of them is a story about the jail, and like the constable that wanted the jail because he was having to house prisoners in his home where his wife was, and he was very upset, and it became a very political thing as to whether or not it should be done. And ultimately it was built in 1906, and the following year there was only 1 prisoner for the entire year. So after we move it, we wanted to honor Don Fuchs by letting him have the first night in the jail. but he declined. But Tommy second.
The way I look at it, Tom, you're asking for a building over this, and when they do that, they'll be able to look at it from one post and see how they feel about being able to move it without it being damaged and stuff too much, correct?
Well,
It's the first step in everything.
Well, once their structural guy looks at it, they'll design something that his guys will build. It'll be a welded frame inside and out, or maybe someone suggested a bladder inside, an air bladder that blows up to hold the shape.
Well, then,
Building just to give them a place to work inside.
I can understand that. When I've seen these arches done before, especially an arch roof like that, what they do is they actually, when they build them, they want to put a temporary wood frame up, and then there's an arched wood frame made, and they lay the the brick right on top, spinning them all together, and then once they've cured for 3 or 4 days, then they pull the woodwork out. The whole thing is all the bearings are on the walls, and the walls do have some cracks in them, and that's what my concern was. So if they look it over and decide that they feel they can move it and it'll be safe, then let's let them do the first step and just take it and look at the building and check it out.